Since 1954, Terrebonne General has been a beacon of health and hope in our community. As we mark 7 decades of dedication to your well-being, Terrebonne General Health System remains committed to advancing healthcare, improving lives, and expanding our services to meet your evolving needs. In celebrating our past, we look forward to a future filled with promise and progress. Your health is our legacy. To discover more, visit tghealthsystem.com.
All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False. This is our council segment where we talk about council business and council agendas. We have the chair of the Terrebonne Parish Council, and there he is once again, Mr. John Amedee. Good to see you, John.
Always good to be here, Martin. We're always looking to get out the word to the residents of Terrebonne Parish is exactly what we're doing, and this gives us an avenue for doing that. So we thank you for always having a place on the agendas for us.
All right, good deal. Let's talk about a few different things. I know there's some subdivision talk on the agenda this week. So what are some of the top things that y'all going to be discussing in hopes to get that out?
So one of the biggest things, Martin, is the Parkwood Place development over on the east side of Houma off of East Street. That's something that was started several years ago to afford affordable housing to low-income families, and it's something that really hasn't taken off. So to get a little more creative, we've received a proposal from an organization that calls themselves the St. Bernard Project, or SBP. And this is a group that started after Hurricane Katrina in the St. Bernard Parish area, but they're not St. Bernard Parish, to make sure there's no confusion. This is a nonprofit that comes in and closes the gap in housing after events like hurricanes and fires and whatever throughout the country. And what they're going to do is they're going to come in and they're going to build housing units, which, in Terrebonne Parish we really need, with Senator Circle being down, the high rise, and that whole situation. This will provide some help to the low-income families, get some of our people back into the parish. It's a 90-unit bill, and it's gonna be broken down in several sectors to be able to reach all the different groups that we need to. So, for example, 44 of those units are going to be for Terrebonne Parish residents earning 60% or less of the area median income. They're going to do 31 units for people earning 50% or less, and then another 15 units for people earning 30% or less. And then they're going to have 25 project-based housing vouchers as well, which should make a dent in what we need here in the parish. And I think it's very important. It's going to take a project that's been kind of stagnant and really revive it to where we can get some people back in housing and back in our parish.
Let me ask you this, with President Trump taking over late January, if that affects certain, I guess, for lack of a better word, subsidies, we'll call subsidies, given to people across the United States, but mainly aimed at people in Terrebonne Parish, if that changes any, does this program change, or does the liability go with the St. Bernard project that takes it over?
The funding that we're using is from the American Rescue Plan money. So once we lock this in, then it's committed, and that's why we want to hurry up and do this now. And there's several other things on the agenda that we're using that money for as well. And so it locks it in, and it's pretty structured in here. This is a company that has learned how to, because one of the founders was a grant writer, they've learned how to go get those dollars as well. So what Terrebonne Parish is doing is taking the money that we've been given through grants, and we're doing a loan program to them. Ultimately, they're going to add additional monies that they've been able to collect, do the whole thing, and then turn it over to another organization that's going to become the ownership of it. It's not going to become ownership by Terrebonne Parish. We're just going to loan them the startup money, I guess.
Right.
Maybe a layman's term to see how we get it started.
Yeah, I'm glad you say locked in, because you certainly don't want another facilitator to get the project and then something happens and then you're dealing with a bouncing ball kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
The lock-in is very important.
It is. So especially with something, this large going forward, we're using some American Rescue Plan money to change the air conditioning in the project, in the government towers and in the courthouse. That's another thing that we want to hurry up and get locked in. That way, we don't lose that funding. For the past couple of years, we've been able to use some of that money in cleaning up the parish of blighted properties. And we're really trying to push through as many of those as we can. That way we can get all of that done. I think the funding has to be locked in by 2025, and we'll lose it. If not, it goes away at 2026, if I remember right on the numbers. So right now, we're at the end of the year. Let's clean it up and get everything locked in so that we don't lose that money, because once it's I can't think of the correct term, but basically once it's appropriated,
initiated and appropriate,
yeah. Once we have a project on the books, everything signed, then that money's there.
Yeah, okay.
So they're not going to come in and change any of that stuff.
Grandfathered in.
Yeah, there's another particular term. I'm just losing the thought at the moment, but
we get the point. We understand the point.
And that's the important thing. We have several things that I guess we've been talking about and the administration's been working on to get that locked in.
Yeah, so it is appropriated. So
yeah, so we've been using that money, like I said, in the past for other things, and it's helpful, especially after you have a hurricane direct hit like Ida, because while we had a lot of blighted properties before, and we had some housing issues before that we were addressing, we were able to take that money. The COVID is the American Rescue Plan money. We've been able to lock that money in. And the same thing with the CBDG DR money with those projects that we proposed. We're going through those and we're getting those locked in as well. You don't want to drag your feet, because when you do, somebody else will come in and sweep that money out from right under your feet. So,
all right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back, part 2, segment 2, with the council chair. Don't go away.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
All right, welcome back. We are talking with Council Chair John Amedee here in Terrebonne Parish about the upcoming meetings. And one of the things on there is the budget. The budget's always important. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the budget and a little bit about, I know I'm still repairing from Hurricane Ida. I'm sure a lot of people are still repairing. And whoever said it takes 2 years after a major storm, they weren't telling the truth. No. It takes a long time.
It does. Especially with all the things that you have to deal with. And like I said many times, just like individuals, the government is dealing with their own insurance companies and that sort of thing. But as far as the budget, so we've been having our budget hearings over the past couple of meetings, and we're going to wrap that up on Wednesday. We're going to vote to approve the 2025 operating and maintenance budget. And then what we're going to do, we've recommended certain changes within the budget. So our first meeting in January, we're going to do a budget amendment to make those changes. Just some little tweaks, some things that we wanted to see. Maybe we wanted to increase somebody's budget or maybe decrease somebody's budget, whatever those things are. Make sure that some funding goes where we felt as council members that we wanted to maintain. So again, that'll be concluded on Wednesday night. But, with Hurricane Ida, we still don't have all of our departments completed. We just now had planning move back into the government towers. If you get a chance to go on the second floor, that's completed. We're going to be opening up the building. We say opening it to the public. So the public may want to keep an eye on that because the entrances are going to change. You're going to be able to come into the front entrance now, and then the employees will be coming in through the back entrance. So that'll be changing shortly. Some of the other buildings, one in particular is the Water Life Museum. And we started IDA repairs on that, and in doing so, we discovered some termite repairs. So we had to put IDA repairs on hold so we can get a contract together to do the termite repairs. Otherwise, it wouldn't pay to do the other repairs. So we're going to be talking about that this week, approving the parish president to sign a contract to get those repairs done.
What about the parking lot that was looked at and forced people to park all over the place?
So we had a second engineer come in. This guy said it was in worse shape than the first guy, but this guy said it could be repaired. So right now we're looking into whether it's feasible to do a repair to it, or if, sometimes it's cheaper to just demolish something and start from scratch, because just like with the Water Life Museum, when you go in to start doing things, you find additional problems. So it starts increasing the cost, whereas if you just knock it down and rebuild it, then you have a solid number as to what happens there. So again, we're looking for money for that. Hopefully we can find something to be able to get started on that. It really, I would like to see the garage rebuilt in the manner of the one that Terrebonne General Health Systems have. I like the ramps going in and out of that place. I think it's more.
Would you go higher where more cars could get in?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to look at what kind of monies are available, but what I would do is I would build it to where you could, so that the foundation is there for additional additional levels. And then that way you can, in the future, if you need it, then you can build up on top of it.
Might not be you, it might be your grandson one day does it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if we can get our initiatives for downtown really taking off, in the next 10 years, to where we're drawing more people downtown, more tourists downtown, I think we'd probably benefit from having garages like that.
And how do you balance that with some people saying that, hey, what about us in the Bayou regions? I know y'all hear that a lot. How do you balance that?
Well, we do. I mean, Martin, it's just like in Schriever. We voted for the levy tax because we didn't want Schriever to become waterfront property in 50 years. We saw the necessity of it. So what we have to do is we have to educate the people in the different areas that this is a benefit, because it brings tax dollars that we can now spend on the bayous and up in the northern region of the parish. So while they think it's just something going on downtown, benefiting downtown, well, it brings tax dollars that benefits the whole parish. And that's really the goal. And, diversifying our economy, because as we've learned, the all field is going to be an up and down thing. And speaking with the all executives, it's going to be a little bit different every time it comes back. So by diversifying, get more tourist dollars, looking for more manufacturing, those things, they're going to help us in the long run.
Yeah, we'll see what a Trump presidency brings, which, with the fracking and the old traditional way of getting oil, we're going to see how that affects us. So it is a wait and see, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I mean, the biggest thing with the oil industry is that they're looking for a certain dollar range for it to be profitable. And that's what they're telling us. Even working on energy independent for the country doesn't mean that they're going to run out and drill if the price is not there. So many times people fuss about sending money to other countries, but, you really have to look at the global economy. And I tell people for Terrebonne Parish, on the bayous and up in Schriever, we have to think globally in Terrebonne Parish. So just because something's happening in one area doesn't mean you're being neglected, because it's really going to benefit you. We have to find the spaces in order to do it. And starting with downtown, it's one of those things. And then, you'll probably look at some more Martin Luther King development.
All right. John, thank you so much for coming on board. We appreciate it.
Always glad to be here, Martin. I always appreciate the invitation.
All right. Once again, John Amedee, the council chair here in Terrebonne Parish. We will take a break. We'll be right back. A lot more right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.